All right, guys, I am back with a brand new DC update. And let the meltdowns commence. We're going to jump right into some of these photos today. And not everything is roses over there at Warner Bros. There's a group of people who would lead you to believe that everything is peachy keen over there at Warner Bros., but it certainly is not by the account of many reports. We're going to look at some stuff here today, so let's get started. Now, I'm not sure what this is in regards to, and this seems a little goofy to me. This to me seems like a fake post, so I don't know if this is true or not, but this is on Threads, and James Gunn came out to say it has come to my attention that a certain individual is making edits of my posts and passing them off as real. I am saddened by this, to be honest. Why can't we all get along? For my real posts, Google James Gunn tweets, which that's what leads me to believe that this is fake. It just seems weird, but I figured I'd share it because it's one of the things I came across. So Jenna Ortega came out and she revealed that to Vogue that her favorite comic book movie of all time is Man of Steel by Zack Snyder. She goes on to say, I've been obsessed with this movie since it came out. I find it very underrated. Zack Snyder is truly a genius. Now, let's see if somebody comes out and tells me this is fake. I doubt it. This was all over the place. Now, I personally have not gone to check to see if this is real, but I'm taking it is because it's a quote from a very specific source. So somebody asked James Gunn, hey, Mr. Gunn, just one question. Has David Corenswet used the Superman suit on the screen testing? There's a leak in the internet. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, he looks great as the new Superman. Now, I have to laugh at that because that was just Henry Cavill's suit, and it was photoshopped. But James Gunn goes on to say, glad you think he looks great, but there's no leak. The only photos taken of David in the Superman suit are on my phone, and I'm standing with him. Now, this goes back to something I reported a while back, but it says a source close to Ben Affleck's camp said Ben turned down the opportunity to join James Gunn's DCU specifically because of the direction the studio heads wanted to take Batman. And that has me worried. If this is true, I do not want to see Batman turned into a joke. I do not want him to be like the Brave and the Bold Batman cartoon. I don't want him to be silly or campy like the 66 series. I want Batman to be taken seriously. He is the one character in the DC universe that needs to be taken 100% seriously. And they quote what Ben Affleck said in that either Hollywood Reporter or Rolling Stone interview, and that he wants to do absolutely nothing for James Gunn. And this was after James Gunn said that, yes, that Ben wanted to direct for him. They were looking for the right project. But Ben Affleck cleared that up and said no such thing. He has no desire to work for the DCU or James Gunn at all. So this goes back to what I said at the beginning of this, that not everything is all rosy over there at Warner Brothers. And we're hearing this from many places. And I have another photo to show in regards to this, but it says sources close to Warner Brothers Pictures say that the studio is concerned that Superman Legacy is only filmed with B-list actors, and the film could suffer for lack of star power. Well, it's kind of hard to have star power when you're jamming every single character in the DC universe into this movie. It is overloaded with characters, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all gets balanced. You know, at the end of the day, it's sounding less and less like a Superman movie and more like just a DC movie. The other big news is Supergirl. These are the two individuals that are supposedly in talks to become Supergirl. And I'm not really keen on either one of these individuals. Now, the girl on the left I've never seen. I know she's in the new Game of Thrones show, which I have not watched. And the girl on the right was in a show my wife used to watch called American Housewife or something like that. And she was the daughter in that. And I don't see either of these girls playing Supergirl. Now, supposedly, the Supergirl in this universe is going to be kind of a punk rock, kind of belligerent type of character. And, you know, either of these girls might fit that bill, but I don't see either one of them just being Supergirl, but who knows. And this was coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Now, here's the thing. I thought James Gunn said nothing is real unless he or Peter Safran give the information out. But yet people are still leaking this stuff, and this was covered everywhere. So according to THR, The Hollywood Reporter, the search for Supergirl comes down to two actresses, Millie Alcock and Meg Donnelly. Both actresses screened yesterday. James Gunn and Peter Safran were in attendance. So Sean William Scott came out. He is definitely popular for the American Pie series, and he says that the DC or Marvel character he'd want to play is Booster Gold via Movie Maniacs. And I don't think they would sign him up for this, honestly. I think that is a role that is going to, if they do use Chris Pratt, I think that's going to be Chris Pratt's role. Certainly hope they don't use him for Batman. This is just one of those awesome shots as Henry Cavill is Superman. And again, this will be in the folder that I share with everybody. And it doesn't look like many people have downloaded those photos. If they don't start getting picked up and people aren't grabbing those photos, I'm not going to take the time to do new links every week. So let me know if you guys are still interested in me putting these in that folder to share, because those links are only good for about a week at a time. But I will continue to do that for the time being until I get some more feedback from you guys. So somebody yesterday, I had made a comment the other day about there not being a whole lot of movement with the Penguin and Matt Reeves, the Batman 2, and there really isn't a whole lot of talk going on. And out of everything going on with DC, these are really the only two projects that I'm interested in. The Joker 2 being a musical, I'm not that interested in. I'm going to go see it, but I hope it's something good. But outside of that, I really don't care about Creature Commandos. I'm not interested in Superman Legacy. I'm not interested in Peacemaker Season 2, and I am going to watch all of that stuff. But what I'm more looking forward to is the Penguin and also the Batman 2. Now, for me, the Batman 2, I'm going to do a video on revisiting that movie. I watched it again yesterday, and I'm going to talk about what my feelings are now that it's almost been a couple of years, and also the fact that, it's got time to set in. And I'm still going to talk about the things I like and don't like about that movie specifically. But it's not a perfect film, but it's by far better than anything that has been released since Black Adam. That is for sure. But Michael Kelly came out and has said he has finished the filming for The Penguin and calls Colin Farrell mind-blowing. I know him from House of Cards. He's also in the Jack Ryan show, and he is going to be in the Penguin show. From what I understand, his character is going to be the guy who kind of takes over after Falcone is killed by the Riddler. So we'll see when the show actually airs. I am looking forward to it. So I've talked about this in the past because I've seen David Ayer talk about this. But somebody asked him, it looks like nothing like a parademon, not even like the parademons in Batman vs. Superman. It looks like a Call of Duty zombie. He said in his movie, in his version of the Suicide Squad, these were parademons light concept. These formed the Enchantress army. And so they were going to have parademons that were, part of Enchantress's army there. And he said an actual parademon would be revealed in Act 3. And so they were actually going to tie this directly to Batman vs. Superman in the dream sequence, which would have made a lot more sense to people who saw those films. Even the butchered version would have made more sense to people because that sequence in the middle of the film, I saw Batman vs. Superman theatrical version like 4 times, and every time I went with somebody else, and that scene thrown in the middle of the movie confused a whole heck of a lot of people. And the extended version is the only way to watch that film. That film is amazing. In fact, I think Batman vs. Superman is probably the best superhero film ever made, but the extended version only. And it's too bad that David Ayer's movie is nowhere to be seen as of now. And we'll see if Warner Brothers ever is willing to give up the ghost and share this with the public who wants to see it. So here's another post about Supergirl, again from The Hollywood Reporter, that Supergirl will be introduced in James Gunn's Superman Legacy. And we're going to talk more about this character here in a few minutes. Here it is. Supergirl will appear in Superman Legacy. She is being called a key component of the DCU. Very interesting wording there. Is she going to become more of an important character than even Superman? We will find out when the movie gets released and more details get revealed for this film. Now, here's an interesting point. Everybody said, how Ben Affleck and Matt Damon went and created their own company. And they did. But longtime collaborators Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are teaming up once again. Affleck will direct Damon in the kidnapping thriller Animals for, guess who? Netflix. And this was shared by Netflix. To say that they couldn't ever do anything else like the DCEU again, not true. So this goes back to what I talked about at the beginning of today's video, that Warner Bros. Is reportedly scared Superman Legacy will flop with B-list actors. And this is being picked up by all kinds of news outlets. And I don't doubt it, but Warner Bros. Doesn't have the money to spend. But yesterday's video, or this morning's video that I put up that I recorded last night, man alive, you guys should go check that out, and I'll talk more about that video when I get done here. Right, so if you guys didn't see it, I did release a video early this morning, but it was filmed last night. It was the last thing I did yesterday, and it was a plan that I came up with that could be profitable for both Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery, that would allow the Snyderverse and the DCU to continue and not interfere with the DCU stuff and make everybody happy. Because the one thing that is very clear right now, and people still come at me on Twitter, and I'm just not going to deal with these people anymore. It's weird that they feel threatened by the stuff that I post. I find it very, very strange. It's just bizarre. And there's another YouTuber who I had to block on Twitter because he kept bombarding and trying to share his videos on my feed, which was super, super annoying. And you guys know who that individual is. He goes on personal attacks all the time. And I'm just not going to have it. So it's getting very weird out there. And people were triggered by the fact that I came up with a plan that could actually benefit. And they're like, why would you want to resurrect a dead universe? Well, it's not dead to a lot of people. And the thing that has happened is that Warner Bros. Discovery has lost a huge group of their fan base and people who paid to go see these movies. And it seems like they don't want that audience anymore, that they don't care. They want to bring in a young group of people that are going to comprise their audience, but they have to remember that it's people my age that are going to be bringing their kids to go see stuff like this, and if they don't want to do the stuff that we want to see, people aren't going to show up. It's going to be like it was for the last 4 DC films. It's just a fact. It's going to happen. All right, guys, there is my update for the day. I do appreciate all the support. If you haven't watched that video that I did yesterday, you're going to want to go check it out. I clearly lay out a way in which we could get the universe back, and it would just benefit everybody all the way around. There's no downside to it at all. And anybody who says there is, they're just hateful, is all it comes down to. And I just don't have time to deal with the hate that's getting spread around like that. All right, guys, there's my update for the day. We will see you guys on the next video.